Good morning, friends. My name is Mary, and I garden in the Rocky Mountains at about 7,000 feet. So I buy plants that are zone 4 or lower, generally, for my garden because I find that they are the ones that can survive our harsh winters here. But moving on, today I am very excited to share with you my August garden. We're going to start the tour with a little story of what happened on June 21st when we had a very horrific hailstorm here in my area, and I had a lot of damage to my garden. Sadly, that's what happens with nature, and we gardeners just have to learn how to cope with it, don't we? So we're going to begin a look at the hailstorm damage, but also today I have been going around my garden and filming sections of it with plants as they are coming into their most glorious blooming time, so you can see exactly how they will look. You know, sometimes when I watch garden tours, the owner of the garden will say something like, well, here's this plant, it was in bloom earlier, but you know, it's finished blooming, and then you don't really get to see how that plant looks when it is blooming. And that's important when you're trying to make decisions about what plants to add to your garden collection. And therefore, I am going to share with you my garden as it is today, but insert a few little clips that show you plants when they were blooming so that you can make decisions about purchases for your garden too. And so I hope you enjoy this. I hope it's informative for you as a gardener. And so guys, we're just going to move on and get a look at my garden in August. Well, friends, shortly after my June garden tour, we had a very damaging hailstorm. Leaves from the trees are down here on the ground, scattered, which I will need to clean up. But let's take a walk over here. Of course, I'm worried about my hostas. You can see what's going on in this little shade garden. And oh my, look at my Sum and Substance leaves. Really torn up. The hailstones were quite large. Let me show you a couple of photos here. These are from two of my friends who actually got out and picked up some hailstones to show how damaging and large they were. Some of my plants weren't injured as badly, like this Carol Mackey Daphne. My geraniums here were shredded pretty badly, but then on the other hand, my Monarda was spared without much damage. And on the other hand, this sedum, it's Autumn Joy sedum, was really beaten down badly. My tomatoes took a beating as well, and my herbs. But to be honest, I'm surprised things are not worse. My containers that were protected by the trees above them did pretty well. These hostas have a few holes from the hailstones. As a gardener, we just have to live with nature, and I always have faith that my plants will recover. So let's move on to a more recent look at my garden. Well, it's after dinner, and here we are looking at my vegetable raised bed with this really pretty Virginia creeper lining the wall, the little retaining wall that I have here, and looking back toward my porch. Now over here on this corner, I have a small section of Monarda that is blooming quite nicely now. Pink and a darker red right there. I do have one bush down here with pink bee balm flowers, but they have already past their prime. The good news is that I am letting them go to seed, so hopefully more will grow next spring. In this whole area, my goal is for this whole area here to fill in with Monarda. This small little plant is called partridge feather. And over here, I have some geraniums in a hanging basket. Now there is a storm moving in to our area, so I'll try to get this video done before the rain comes. Over here I had a dead aspen tree. You can see the trunk right here. And when I had it taken down, I asked the arborist to leave a large pole for me to add planters to the sides. And you can see here I have some Tahitian bridal veil growing with some Tradescantia. And up here we have some petunias. And this cute little birdhouse that I painted up with a mandala design. As you've seen before, this is my fairy garden area. Where my grandsons like to play. This is actually a mirror that I thrifted and repainted. And then in my blue spruce here, I like to hang some thrifted bird houses. Here we have polka dot plant in this little garden, impatiens, and coleus. Here's the fun sign that I made a couple of years ago. And here's one of the begonias that I overwintered indoors, but it got beaten up so badly by the hail. It is just now beginning to come back. The magpies are going to town here this afternoon. I do a lot of hand watering with the hose, especially my containers and a few of the plants that are not on my sprinkler system. Here we have some Veronica that has been blooming for a while. And this ice plant here that you see with all the little blooms closed up. Let me share with you a picture of what it looks like in the sunlight. I have another planter on this thrifted chair that's very chippy. I love this pretty Anthony Waterer spirea. This plant is called Powys Castle. It's a type of Artemisia. time, but I just wanted to capture this gorgeous all dressed up rose that is blooming quite well now, finally, later in the summer. I love this brilliant pink color. And oh guys, it has such a lovely scent. I wish you could smell it with me. Now walking over here, you can see these plants, another Anthony Water or Spirea, a Carl Forster feather reed grass, daylilies, and of course I'm forgetting this name at the moment, but I'll put it on the screen for you. This is the candy tuft that bloomed earlier. And my beautiful Joe Pye weed that is a very late bloomer. And then over in this area here, I'd like to share with you a better view of this when everything was in full bloom. I wanted to be sure and capture this lovely scene here. These gorgeous wine cups here open when the sun is shining, and then they close again as evening approaches. So if it's shady, or I guess I would say a cloudy day, the blooms do not open. But gosh, aren't they gorgeous? And of course in the background here are my beautiful rose campions. And over here, this large bush that you can see is actually in the pea family. It is called Baptisia. Normally it has bright, beautiful purple blooms, but with our unusual weather this year, which was cool and rainy, I'm not sure if it's going to bloom or if it's just going to be later this summer, maybe closer to fall. But guys, if you'd like to have some beautiful pink flowers, these two choices here, the rose campion and the wine cups, which spread along the ground here. And there are actually 3 plants in this area, and they kind of grow together and spread out as the summer progresses. They are really fantastic, especially if you have a large area that needs to be filled in with some blooms. And over here is my gnarly mugo pine, which I limbed up with my arborist some time ago to make room for more plantings. And it has remained quite healthy despite the pretty drastic cutting back of the limbs. So if you have an overgrown mugo pine, I actually have a video that I'll share down below. The video does show how my arborist and I chose which branches to cut back. And it is just a gorgeous, almost like a tree-like bush these days. Carl Forster feather reed grass, isn't it so pretty? Another container. And we'll walk just right here past this lovely bush. We'll step up the little retaining wall into the top level of my garden here. Look at this funny pot that was actually a popcorn container my daughter bought for me at the movie theater. And let's go over here for a look at more daylilies. Aren't those pretty? And I do have another container here. And it is actually standing on an old bird bath where the bowl cracked and wasn't holding water anymore, so I used it for a container stand. There you can see my fountain. Here's another fun container, and if you're looking for a way to decorate your large potting containers, try thrifting some pretty dishes from the thrift store where you can add some color, extra color to your pot. The rain is beginning to come down, so I'm going to have to call it quits here shortly. Here's a collection of my thrifted bells hanging on a branch there. And this is a small shade garden. Let's go over to the corner here for one last look. Here's a quick peek at my back porch with the pretty lights I have at this time of the evening. They come on a timer automatically. It's quite cozy on my porch then. Here's the area of my porch swing, and we'll come across here for another peek at the porch. And guys, I'm gonna have to run in because it is now really coming down. I've come up onto my porch for cover, and I thought I'd just swing over this way for you to see a few more areas that I missed earlier. And guys, I want to thank you for stopping by my channel for this tour. I'm hoping that you have had a beautiful day, and I hope I can welcome you back again a little later as we go into fall. So this is Mary saying thank you again, and I hope you enjoyed this short tour, and take care, my friends.